This is the 3 p.m. Takeover, Radio Northern Beach's only drive-home show.
Keep it right here for a whole hour of fresh hits and entertainment for your Wednesday afternoon.
Here we go.
This is Lovers on the Radio by McFly. Welcome to Radio Northern Beaches. You're listening to the 3 p.m. Takeover. Happy Wednesday afternoon. Hi, Victoria.
Hi, Hope, and hi, everyone.
Welcome to the show. We are so glad that you are here today. Well, not here, but listening, that kind of thing. We're here.
It'd be weird if you were here, just staring at us while we talk into microphones.
Yeah, don't come here. Just listen from a distance. That'll do. Anyway, we are really excited for today's show. It is freezing cold, as I'm sure everybody has noticed across the beaches.
Yeah, I think winter is well and truly here, guys.
It has hit. It was 6
Scarves
degrees when I was trying to go to work last week, and it was just so cold.
Scarves and beanies. Layer up.
When you know that you have to wear scarves and beanies in Australia, on the beaches, it's pretty depressing.
I think people forget how cold it actually gets, and they don't like, I know when I go overseas, people, I'm like, oh yeah, winter's really cold. They're like, ha, okay. I'm like, no, it gets cold so suddenly that it is actually really cold.
What is funny here is I feel like Australia tries to have a winter. You know, you see people in the city dressed up like you would dress up in Europe in winter, and you're like, come on, it's cold, but really. But anyway, this has been a major week politically, and we're gearing up for
my favourite kind of week.
I know. We're voting in the federal election this weekend, only 3 days away, so don't forget.
Set a reminder, because I always forget.
Yeah, you probably can't forget. If you're driving out about on the day, you're going to pass all the people voting, so you probably won't forget. But anyway,
you're like, why has everyone got a sausage sizzle and like a random cake?
What's with all the posters?
Yeah, what's going on? It's election day.
Yeah, so for most people, especially on the northern beaches, you can vote at your local public school, so it will not be that far away to go and vote. But the other major thing that happened in the last week was Brexit. So the decision for Britain to leave the EU after many years.
You may have known it as just the EU referendum. That's what I knew it was. I didn't even know it was called the Brexit until it actually happened. Because I kept hearing about it, but it was always referred to as the referendum.
So it's just it's just a pun, Britain and exit put together, Brexit.
Oh!
That's why it's called.
I thought there was some like proper naming system. Nope, someone just smashed those words together.
Yeah,
fair enough.
That's why it was called Brexit. And as we know, Britain is now set to leave the EU. Well, that's not confirmed. I mean, there's nothing legally binding about a referendum, so it now has to be taken to the EU and they will then approve it. And either way, it's a really long process. It will probably take 6 months at most. I hear rumours already that they're going to petition for another referendum.
Yeah,
so
last I heard they needed 100,000 signatures and they were really close. They've probably already gone over it actually last time I checked, which was a while ago. And if they get 100,000, they can sort of put it to Parliament and be like, you need to revote.
Yeah, and they can revote. They've done a lot of analysis on the people that have voted on each side, and it is looking like it's fair to potentially redo the referendum, but we'll see.
Look, it appears that all the people who wanted to leave would not be affected because they're probably not going to live long enough to see the consequences. That's what I had gathered. Yeah. All the young people want to stay and all the like over 60 were like, yeah, let's leave.
Yeah, that's the thing. So it's been quite a long time now that Britain has been part of the EU. They joined in 1973, which was 10 years after they were originally vetoed by the French when they tried to join. And they joined with Denmark and Northern Ireland. So they've all been in the EU close to 50 years now. And obviously being part of the Commonwealth, we have a really big connection to the UK, and anything that goes wrong there or changes there has an immediate effect on us, whether people remember that or not. I know it's hard to remember because we're on the other side of the world, but there are always connections, right? Like when something happens, it bounces back to us in some way.
But that's with any country. Something happens in America, it always, like, there's always going to be pros and cons that affect us. But same with, I found from what I've learned about the Brexit voting, on both sides there are pros and cons. It's almost like when we have Liberal Labor in power, half people are happy and half aren't. It's really difficult to know what the right answer is because every other group of people is affected differently. So I guess that's why it's interesting they actually took it to a vote to, like an election, they took very democratic.
Power to the people, right?
Yeah,
they actually gave a decision over to the people.
It's really big of them. I don't know if that was a mistake or not, but it was a really interesting move for the government to make.
Very democratic, which is a good thing. But anyway, probably the most major implications in the short term are there any Australian company that has a European branch that has a headquarter in the UK, which is the majority of Australian companies, they will now need to move their headquarters out of the UK, which is obviously very costly. In terms of trade, the EU is Australia's second largest source of foreign investment. So for banking, that's pretty bad. So it's a tough road ahead. It's definitely going to be a big time of change. So we are going to wait out and find what happens.
It's going to take like 2 years for anything to really properly finish and go through anyway.
It'll be a long time before you actually start to notice it, but the cogs are in motion on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
So stay tuned and we will keep you updated.
Welcome back to the 3 p.m. Takeover. That was Drive By Train, a song I sing and dance to quite often.
Train are great.
They are. They're such fun, catchy hits.
So much fun.
I've been very much enjoying their latest hits. That sounded really old of me. Anyway, so along with a couple of other things that happened last week, we discussed the Brexit recently. It was the extreme of winter, as it's called. We had midwinter. The winter solstice just passed for us because we're in the southern hemisphere. It's also called the June solstice, and it's basically when we have the shortest day and the longest night of the year. I think it's a bigger deal in the northern hemisphere, maybe because it's around like Christmas and stuff, and they get snow and it's actually like interesting for them.
It was a big deal. Like when I was a child, we used to celebrate it massively, like at my house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'd do like a lantern walk and we'd eat like toasted marshmallows and like, my mum made it quite a big thing when I was a kid.
That's so
It was so
cute.
great. I loved it.
So it was a big deal when, like, obviously before like modern technology and calendars, because it was it helped people time things, so such as like when to sow crops and how to monitor their food reserves for the rest of winter. So it was a really big deal back then. I think it's become less of a big deal because we don't like rely on seasons as heavily anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Or light.
Yes, definitely with the light as well. But interestingly, many of the cultural mythologies and traditions are derived from it. So a big one is like Stonehenge. The way it's built and the way the stone monuments have been laid, it's aligned on a sightline pointing to the winter solstice sunrise.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, no, they're the sunset, and then the Newgrange one, which is over in Ireland, is the sunrise.
Yeah, okay.
So they're kind of like the 2 points, which I thought was really interesting. I didn't realise that Stonehenge, I knew it was aligned with one, but I thought it was aligned with the summer solstice. I didn't realise it was aligned with winter solstice. That's kind of
I knew
cool.
it was aligned with something. I didn't know what.
Yeah. So that's really cool. Like, can you imagine, they were so precise with that kind of stuff back then.
I'm kind of not surprised because I feel like back
It's like
then...
the pyramids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unfair to technology to say that they were so much smarter and more resourceful back then because I don't think that's true. I think nowadays we're just smart in different ways. But they did, even things like sundials, like they were so incredibly clever and before
accurate.
Technology and accurate as well.
Yeah, definitely. Another big thing that comes around with winter solstice is the idea of Yule and Yuletide.
Oh, yeah.
So Yule is based off Yolnir, which is a god, which was one of Odin's names. So it's kind of back to that kind of it's very Scandinavian rooted. And a lot of the things that we associate with modern Christmas, so Christmas trees, Christmas wreaths, Yule logs, and other things like that, are direct descendants of Yuletide customs.
Yeah, which is, I guess, why
really
here
cool.
we have Christmas in July.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which would sort of be like that.
Yeah, I know people who celebrate Yule, and because they're in the southern hemisphere, they celebrate it in our summer to celebrate the northern hemisphere's Yule.
Yeah, that
but they
makes
also
sense,
have it in winter, so they get like two.
So greedy.
Yeah, they
every
get double
solstice for
celebrations.
them.
No, it's great. Why not? And in really temperate climated areas, the Midwinter Festival is the last feast celebration that's like before the really deep winter begins. So they have like a really big feast because like the majority of the wine and beer they made that earlier that year has finally fermented and it's ready to be drunk.
Yeah,
Which is like a really cool like thing to base it off. Like, oh, the wine's ready, let's have a party.
And then don't they also do that so they have like lots of room to get in all the new things that they need because then winter comes and you kind of hibernate?
Yeah, and also on like a less happy note, they'll use up more of their cattle so they don't have to feed them during winter. And so they'll have a really big, and also they can start curing meats and have more food for the winter. So it's a lot more interesting than I thought it was going to be. When I was researching, I was like, my brain didn't even put winter solstice festivals and Christmas together.
I'm
as in,
sad
like,
about the
traditions.
cattle now.
I know, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have ended on that. My bad.
Okay. Moving aside from that, we're going to head into a song now. What's the artist's name, Victoria?
Okay, he's Welsh and he's an actor as well. You may know him off like Game of Thrones and Misfits. His name is Ewan Drowan. We've literally been practicing how to say it in the last song. Thank you. Ewan Drowan, and this is Bang Bang.
Welcome back to the show. This is Radio Northern Beaches. You're listening to the 3 p.m. Takeover, and that was someone Welsh.
Ewan Throwan.
Ewan Throwan. There we go.
I'm gonna commit it to memory and be really good at remembering how to say his name because because it's Welsh. It does not look like that.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoy that song. That's impromptu. That's like my song of the week. I've been listening to I have him on Spotify and I've been listening to his music on repeat at work.
And you were telling me he's an actor?
Yeah, so he's been in Game of Thrones. I think his character's name was like Ramsay. It was a pretty awful character.
Ramsay.
And he was also in Misfits, and he's been in a couple
cool.
He's been in a couple of other productions, like smaller shows.
Yeah.
And his smaller, really indie movies. I've always really enjoyed him. I first saw him in Misfits, and he's a really talented actor. And then I found out that he could sing a couple of years ago, and I was like, oh my goodness.
That's really impressive.
He's actually has a few songs that he sings like completely in Welsh, which is really, really cool. Maybe that he'll be like in Eurovision next year. I would vote.
They don't have a separate entry though.
No, they'll do it just for him.
The UK is not going to be in Eurovision next year because it's not in Europe.
Does that mean we won't be anymore?
I hope so.
Because kind of the only reason we're there is because of England.
I didn't think of that. Okay, so the UK won't be in it.
But surely there are countries not in the EU that are in Eurovision.
They are, but I feel like
Eurovision's going to kick England out.
Eurovision won't want them in because of that.
Look what you've done, England.
That'll be the way. Oh,
okay.
No, I didn't think of the Eurovision implication of this.
But it's really sad because it's only this year and last year that England's actually started to care about Eurovision again. They've actually sent people that really want to be there and have actually loved being on stage. Previously, they've never done that. And all years before, they've brought back random has-beens who are like, I don't know what I'm doing here, and no one votes for them.
As long as
I care,
as long as it means that Australia does not come back.
That's actually a good point.
That's a
good vote, everyone. We did good in the Brexit vote.
This is why people voted out. Anyway,
imagine if you found it the whole reason everyone was like, we just don't want Australia in Eurovision anymore. That's why I voted out. No.
Talking about Brexit, I was explaining, if you were listening to the show at the beginning, we spoke about Brexit, and I was talking about how the word is a combination of the words Britain and exit smashed together. And when you smash two words together, it's called a glamp.
Really? Is that word a smash of other words?
Yeah.
What words?
I don't know.
Oh.
But apparently so. But glamp is the word for when you smash two words together.
Wait, glamp?
Glamp.
That's already a thing.
GLAMP.
Yeah, glamp is like glamorous camping, like glamping. That's already a word.
Yeah.
Oh, but maybe that's just glamping and not glamp.
That's glamping.
I'm so confused now.
So the word glamp in itself...
My brain's starting to hurt.
The word glamp in itself is a collective word that means lots of, any two words that are smashed together to make a word. So that was one of the 4 words that was recently added to the Oxford English Dictionary.
Glamp or
in
Brexit?
June. Glamp.
I was going to say, Brexit got in really quick to the dictionary.
No, glamp. 4 words have been added to the dictionary.
That are glamps?
No.
Oh.
4 words have been added to the dictionary in total.
Look, my brain's fried. I had to pronounce a Welsh name earlier, all right? I'm done for the day.
4 words have been added to the dictionary in total.
Okay.
In June, since they last did a dictionary update.
That's such a big deal, though, adding new words. What if you invented that word? What pride you'd have in being like, yeah, my word made it into the dictionary.
You can actually do that. You can, I know, for example, in Australia, you can submit a word to the Macquarie Dictionary that they have to consider it. But I don't know how many of them actually.
We should just make up a word and submit it.
Maybe. But anyway, are you interested to hear the other 3 words aside from glamp that made it into the dictionary?
Yes.
Okay. So the first one is starchitect. So imagine architect, but spelt with an S on the front.
Oh, okay.
Like
Starchitect.
Starchitect.
Is it like a star architect?
No.
Oh. Am I going to try? Should I try and guess what the words are?
No, you're close. Are you ready?
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's a famous architect.
Oh.
One whose designs are considered extravagant, outlandish, or incompatible with their existing surroundings.
Like Frank Gehry?
Yeah.
Ah.
Or when you go to certain cities and there's one building that's a complete random addition. They have a few of them around in China, for example.
That's cool.
The people that did them now are called architects.
What's that building in London? The Gherkin? That's obviously not its real name, but...
The Gherkin?
It's like that kind of cone kind of shaped building. It's kind of bulbous and it comes in at a point. And obviously all the buildings around it are square based, but it's circular.
I don't know that one.
It's nicknamed the Gherkin. You'd know it if you saw a shot of the London skyline.
I'd know it.
And you probably know it by its proper name, but I know it as the Gherkin. So.
I always think of the one in Beijing, the bird's nest or the bird's cage, whatever it was that was made for the Olympics. Yeah. The bird's nest. That was designed by a architect.
I like the way you say it. Starchitect.
Starchitect. Okay, so that was the second one. The third word that was recently added to the dictionary in June, it's not a word, it's two words, is starter marriage. So that's a phrase that's now in the dictionary. And a starter marriage is a short-lived first marriage, typically when viewed as a form of preparation for a subsequent, more longer-lasting one. Oh. So I guess kind of like when Kim Kardashian married Chris Humphries for 72 days. That was a starter marriage for her marriage to Kanye West.
I feel like, does that really deserve its own phrase?
Apparently.
Oh. But it's weird because you don't know it's a starter marriage until the next marriage.
Yeah.
So if someone got married, you couldn't be like, this is clearly so-and-so's starter marriage, because what if they get divorced and they never get married again?
Yeah.
Ooh. By the way, I've just looked it up for you. That's the gherkin.
Oh, I know that thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I would describe it. It sort of looks like a rocket.
I just know it as the gherkin. Look it up, guys. As soon as you look it up, you'll be like, oh, that building.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. So we had Glamp, Starchitect, and Starter Marriage. What's the fourth?
And Starter Marriage. The last one is an acronym that I think most people will know, certainly young people will know. And I think I sort of presumed it was in the dictionary because I know what a lot of acronyms are. I remember years ago they added LOL to the dictionary, and that was like a massive thing. Like people didn't think that would happen.
Well, wasn't that the first like new age talk?
Internet talk.
Yeah, the first
thing.
like internet talk word to get in.
I think so. Yeah. But so the last one that's been added is ROFL. So that's ROFL. And it's
rolling
an
on the floor laughing.
Yep. And it's an acronym for rolling on the floor laughing.
Oh.
ROFL.
There you go.
So ROFL is now in the dictionary.
Can I be honest? Mm-hmm. Those four slightly disappointing additions.
I know, they're not exactly exciting, are they?
Yeah. No, I was hoping for something like this word that you're like, oh, I didn't realize that wasn't a real word yet. But I
suppose they've got to keep inventing words.
I suppose. But I don't really consider like ROFL a word.
Yeah, well,
maybe because whenever I read it, I always know that it's not a word. It's an acronym. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's interesting that I think just because something is in the dictionary doesn't mean that it's now recognized a word. It's more that it's a recognized part of the language that can be used in a formal sense.
Oh, okay.
I think that's more the idea.
So you're saying,
because you can have phrases in the dictionary and you can have acronyms in the dictionary.
Does that mean that I don't know, in Parliament, they can now be like, oh, ha, 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 Speaker of the House, ROFL.
Yeah.
They can technically use it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because it's a real word now.
Maybe I'll start actually tuning into parliamentary debates if they're using LOL and ROFL.
See if they're using the word. That's interesting. But anyway, let us know what you think of the new additions to the dictionary. And next week, I think we might have a chat about words that we would add if we could, because I certainly have one that I've been itching to send for application for many years. So if you tune in next week, I will tell you what that is.
That's a weird itch to have.
It is. We'll be back right after this.
Welcome back to the 3 p.m. Takeover. That was Gonna Get Over You by Sarah Bareilles. I got to say her name really quickly.
That's good enough. Yeah,
thanks. And Falling in Love by Terry Crews. No more Dynamite for him. He's all about love now.
Yeah, he used to be into like rock.
Dynamite and clubs
and club music, and now he's into love music.
Aww.
Whatever works, right?
Oh, yeah. So a couple of weeks ago, we started a new little series about basically navigating being a new adult, and we're going to research and give advice on stuff. And this week, our topic is going to be going outside your comfort zone, which is a really good but really tricky one to actually do.
Is new adult in the dictionary?
Probably not. There's our word.
It should be, because you said it's a book genre, right?
It is. It's now a book genre just because I don't know if you're a new adult and you try to look for a book, the options are like teenage romance and like I'm 30 years old and getting divorced and I have 2 kids. Those are the only 2 like main characters we have in books. And they're now starting to actually publish, like accept and publish books that have like someone who's 25 and the lead character in a book, which is so refreshing and so good because it's nice to actually read a book where the main character's your age.
Yeah, do you know what's weird? It sounds like an odd example to use, and this isn't saying that it's new adult, but one of the only books I've read in recent years where the character was exactly my age was 50 Shades of Grey, because she's 21.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, and that was the first book, and that's why, although that's not my genre of reading whatsoever, I enjoyed reading it. No. I enjoyed reading it because I hadn't read a book with someone my age and my gender for like since I was a child.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
It was great in high school because every other book you picked up, the character was 17, basically. Yeah. And like, don't get me wrong, if there's a really good series of books, I will still read them even if the character is like 17. But I find it really hard to associate with them because my life is at a very different stage now. So it's nice to finally read books that have characters that are the correct age, and you can empathize with them so much more, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So going outside your comfort zone is really, really hard. I know the first example that comes to mind for me is I used to not like making phone calls, and I worked as a receptionist for about 2 years, and I had to answer the phone, and that was, I guess, forcing me out of it. But it's good because I can make a phone call now. It doesn't stress me. But I still have friends who are freaked out by the idea of making a phone call, which I totally understand. But I think my main piece of advice, if you have to go outside your comfort zone, is just like fake it.
Fake it till you make it. That's a good one.
Even if it's answering the phone, especially if it's like a reception job where the person calling doesn't know you, you can like pick someone you want to be and just be that person and pretend they're answering the phone. And then, you know what I mean? Then it's not you making that phone call. I don't know. That's how I did it for the first like 6 months.
I found when I first started answering phones as part of a job, I made sure that I had like I like write the script in front of me.
Oh, really?
So that if something went wrong, I'd look down and be like, look, I'm really sorry, I don't actually know that, but I'm just going to put you through to someone who does know, you know.
Oh, yeah,
I'm going to put you through to someone who can help you, rather than being like, you know, like I wrote myself scripts for years until I was comfortable on the phone.
Oh, wow. That's a really good idea though.
Yeah, just so that I had a bit of an idea. So I don't know, would you say that as you get older, part of maturing is learning to go outside your comfort zone?
Yeah, I think I was never a very introverted child, as those of you who may know me. So, like, I used to go to...
Neither of us are very introverted.
That's true, actually. Should we even be giving advice on this topic? So things like I used to do lots of after-school activities, and it never stressed me to go to them and not knowing anyone. Like, I did an art class, and when I started, I didn't really know anyone. I used to do horse riding, didn't know anyone. And don't get me wrong, I was really scared at first, but I think my mum said something, I think it was my mum, she said, like, you know, if you go there by yourself, you can just make friends, and everyone's there especially when it's like a hobby group, everyone's there for the same reason. They're not going to be like, oh, you like doing art, well, you can't sit with us, well, we're at an art class, like, hello. And I've never sort of been like, I do get really nervous, especially like if you're going to a party and you only know like the person who invited you.
That's
and
true.
Everyone else, that's always I find that really scary and stressful. But I also don't, because I'm not introverted, I don't have that rooted fear. My brain just goes,
that's true.
Just make friends. It's only for one night. If you really want to leave early, you can leave early. Like,
I think it's, if you're naturally able to make friends, I think that's
True.
good. It's something that I'm also able to do. But for people who aren't, I always heard that a good tactic if you're in a room of people and you don't know anybody is to pick someone else that also looks a bit nervous and a bit shifty and obviously is alone as well, and go up and make friends with the other alone person, because that's much easier than approaching a group that already know each other.
Yeah, definitely. But also at the same time, you know your own limitations. So if you don't have to, as an adult, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. And I don't think...
Isn't that so great?
Yeah. So if you don't have to feel pressured to go to that party if you're not going to know anyone. That's a very acceptable reason. And
yeah, absolutely.
And if your friends invited you and that's the reason you give why you're not going to go, if they're a good friend, they will understand and not be like, no, you have to come anyway. Like,
yeah, there's an age where you grow out of peer pressure. You can't.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to continue after a certain age. I have a story about this, right? So I was absolutely pushed out of my comfort zone the other week and it killed me. I don't have that many comfort zones, but one of them relates to the gym. So when I do a gym class, I always go to the back. It's just a thing. I don't know why.
I would as well.
I've just been someone that's always gone to the back. Not because I don't want to be at the front, but I'm more comfortable when I can see everything. I don't like feeling like something's going on behind me that I can't see. It's just that feeling more than like, you know, me being uncertain or something. But I recently joined a new gym and I went to a yoga class and I was late getting there because I couldn't, you know, like navigate my way around.
And the only spots were at the front?
But it was worse than that. It wasn't that the only spot was at the front. There were actually no spots. But I didn't know that until I'd walked in because of the shape of the room. So the yoga teacher was like, don't worry, come and stand on my podium with me. So then I had to do the whole 1 hour class like slightly next to her, but like off to the side on the actual instructor podium. And it was like the worst hour of my life. It was so stressful. And nobody was looking at me and nobody was doing anything. But I just really struggled with that one. That was so bad.
Oh, I'd be like, you know what? I'm good. I'm
just going to leave, thanks, you know, bye. But I couldn't because I'd been late and you're not supposed to enter a class late. So the gym staff member had like gone to the effort of getting me in and I couldn't run away because I'd have had to go past her to get out.
Oh, no. That's such an awkward situation.
It was stressful, but now that I braved that situation, I feel much better. But yeah, that was horrible. So that was me getting pushed out of my comfort zone recently.
That's difficult, but I guess if you're in that kind of situation, something good to remember is, and this is not in a mean way, something good to remember is that like no one really cares. They're not going to remember you.
That is true, right?
They're not going to pass you on the street a week later and go, oh my God, you're the girl at the front of the yoga group. If they do, you can just be like, yeah, that was me. It was awkward. They'd probably be like, yeah, it was. I'm glad it wasn't me. Like, they're not going to like point their finger at you and laugh. And you got to keep in mind that it's going to be that one moment, and you might make a fool of yourself somehow, but like everyone's been in that situation. No one's going to go, oh, that idiot, how, what, I can't believe they did that. Like everyone's been in that situation or felt that same nerves. And I think that's why people usually, especially like if you go to a party, you're the only person there and you say hi to someone, they're going to talk back. And they might invite you to sit with their group, because everyone's been that odd person out before. And,
definitely.
And everyone knows how hard it is to get out of their comfort zone. And people often, if they realize that that's what you're doing, they'll like respect you more and like
totally
reach out and want to talk to you more.
Yeah. The other thing about with being in your comfort zone is sometimes it can be a gradual process getting out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
So it's okay to
don't go deep end. You can wade
steps.
your way into that pool.
Yeah. Like every sort of little step to something new that you're doing can be an achievement. And I know with me, I feel like if I get, a bit bogged down and bored with life, challenging myself to do something I normally wouldn't is really refreshing, and it makes you feel a lot better.
And it doesn't have to be like relationship wise and like meeting people. It can be something like trying a new fashion style.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
definitely.
That can I really struggle with that, because if I'm going to wear this outfit to work, I'm like, what if it looks silly, blah, blah, it's a whole day of work. But you know what, end of the day, it's just one day. And
people won't remember that one day.
Yeah, and if you don't try it, you'll never know. And sometimes people will comment, you'll get comments, which is really nice. It might be a hairstyle, maybe the way you do your makeup. And this day and age is a really good day and age to do it, because there's so many different types of fashion and style that no one's going to be like, oh, they're against the status quo, how dare them, because you're just trying something new.
Yeah, and I was going to add to that. So to wrap this up, I need everybody's support, because I'm about to go so out of my comfort zone. I will keep you updated over the next few weeks, but I have had very long hair my whole life, and I have a plan to cut it. And
you mentioned this to me.
I am
You're more set on it.
so terrified. So I'm like stressfully counting down the weeks, and I'm going to need all of your support, because I am going to do it. I know that I will, but it's so out of my comfort zone. So everyone stay tuned. I need all your support to get through this. I'm going to cut my hair off, and I will keep you updated. Welcome back to the 3 p.m. Takeover. We are up to the very end of our show, which is the worst part of the week. But that's all right.
I think I said the worst part of the show. I was like, okay, fine.
No,
I thought
it's a good part of the show. It's a good part of the show. So what part of the show is it today, Victoria?
Let me check my schedule. I'm pretty sure that it's suburb focus.
It definitely is. It is suburb focus, and
our suburb this week is Oxford Falls, which always hold a special place in my heart, because that's where I went to high school and it's where Hope and I met. I'm actually wearing my Year 12 jersey in honour of it. Also, it's quite warm and it's a little bit chilly today.
That's true.
So Oxford Falls sits in what was previously the Rinka Council area. Council amalgamations. I'm just going to complain about it every single week. So as we know, it's on the northern beaches, obviously.
Yep.
In 1878, Alexander Bowen was granted 200 acres, which was what we now know as Oxford Falls area, and he named it Bloodwood Gully.
Oh, okay.
Really glad that they renamed it in 1902. Or they probably named it, I couldn't find when they renamed it, but it was gazetted as a suburb in 1902 as Oxford Falls.
Okay, so it would have been around the turn of the century.
But 1878 to 1902 is only like 30 years.
Yeah.
20 years, actually.
That's true.
Yeah. 22 years. 24 years? I'm really not... Like, my brain is fried from all the new words we've learned and speaking Welsh earlier. I can't even
It's been a long day.
I can't attempt math. Okay. So, as you guys will probably know, Wakehurst Parkway basically cuts straight through it on the Narrabeen side, not on the Manly side.
Yep.
So Wakehurst Parkway was named after John Vanderloder, which was the second Baron Wakehurst, and he was the Governor of New South Wales from 1937 to 1946.
Yeah, and we learnt on Suburb Focus a few weeks ago that Wakehurst Parkway was built in 1946.
Hence why it was named after him, because it was the year that he finished being governor.
Oh, there we go.
And Oxford Falls Post Office was opened in 1924. Which sounds really early, but I looked up when the first post offices were opened in Australia, and that was like early to mid 1800s. So it was almost it was almost like 100 years late, and then it closed in 1984.
I was going to say, I don't think I've seen a post office.
No, it closed in the 80s. So some of the main, I guess, features of Oxford Falls, there are 2 waterfalls on Middle Creek. Then they flow into Oxford Creek. And then Meandering Creek flows into Middle Creek. And
Meandering Creek?
Yeah, it probably doesn't run very fast. And then Wheeler Creek forms part of the border with Cromer, that must be right near Wheeler Heights as well, eh?
Yeah.
Which we learned all about last week. And then obviously Garrigal National Park borders the suburb on the northern side.
Yes.
And my fun little fact that I learned about Oxford Falls is that... Are you guys ready for this?
Yes.
You're not ready.
I'm
I don't
ready.
think you're ready. So, in like the 80s, a huge section of the bushland, which was originally pristine bushland, it's now an airfield, but for a while it was the site of a TV series.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Neither did I. So a show called 5 Mile Creek, which a whole bunch of like random famous Australians had like cameos
I've heard
in.
of the show. I didn't know it was.
Yeah. So like
filmed
Nicole Kidman, Asher Ketty, Michael Caton, all those people had
Whoa.
one-off roles. Like Asher Ketty was like, she played a young girl in one episode.
Yeah.
But so they had their outdoor section, like the front of buildings to make it look like they were like in their outdoor shots, was in this area in like the Oxford Falls Belrose bush area.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't
Having
that
away
cool?
and move aside. We have a new
Well, it wasn't
TV
beach-based.
star.
It was in the middle of like, it was semi-Wild West. So...
the wild west of Oxford Falls.
Yeah, the wild Oxford Falls. So
How exciting.
that was the fun little... I was really excited to learn that fact, actually.
That is really
Kinda
cool. And the other thing that I always like about Oxford Falls is it's a semi-rural suburb. We don't really have many of them at all. I think potentially Duffy's Forest might be classed as semi-rural. But
Probably Terry Hills as well.
No, Terry Hills isn't, because Terry Hills has commercial
Of
entities within it.
course.
I'm fairly confident actually
Doesn't Oxford Falls have commercial entities?
No.
Oh. I'm thinking of Skyline Shops. That's technically not part of Oxford Falls.
No,
is
that's
it?
in French's Forest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. And what's really cool about Oxford Falls is it's so countryish when you drive through. Like if you drive through Oxford Falls Road, which connects Oxford Falls to Belrose, you would think that you were in the middle of nowhere. There's like horses jumping around, roads that aren't paved properly.
You make it
Satellite
sound so
dishes.
like...
It's just so completely randomly in the middle of
You don't like
everything.
horses jumping around. They're like controlled horses.
No,
They're
but
not
you know
like
what I
wild
mean.
horses go across. Oh, my carriage is getting pulled over.
But they're horses just like galloping along in fields. It's not like what you see, down on like DY Beach or something.
That's
it's just
true.
a bit different. I like it.
I mean, it
It's
depends
a
on
good place.
depends on part of the beach you're on, but
That's
yeah.
true. And it has, I remember hearing this a while ago, it has one of the lowest numbers of residents because
That's not surprising.
there's not much going
Yeah.
on there. There's like one street of houses. So there we
And
go.
they're like across the road from Oxford Falls Grammar.
Yeah, across the road from the school.
Basically. Yeah, so that is our show for the week. Hope you guys enjoyed hearing about Oxford Falls and new words that were added to the dictionary and all about the winter solstice. If you guys have any cool facts about Oxford Falls that we missed, please let us know.
Definitely.
I went to school there for 6 years, but I obviously didn't pick up any local knowledge. So please let us know. Otherwise, have an excellent week. We're going to outro ourselves with some Coldplay. This is Green Eyes by Coldplay. Have an excellent week.